Does change or transformation always occur as a result of spiritual purification?
Good question, but spiritual purification happens in its own time. Awakening happens in its own time, as much as it can happen by preparation and lead up, practice. And so we can think about it. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, but it can happen, and we don't think about it. See? It could have already happened if we don't think about it. We have to go back to when it happened to catch up with ourselves in some cases, right? So it's not unusual to find people, if you're in a spiritual community or something, say, "Well, I just read about something that happened to me 20 years ago. I just didn't know how to relate to it. Wow, I woke up 20 years ago and never knew it. My goodness, I'm awake." I've always been awake, but I didn't know it. I've acted like everybody else around me. Well, yeah, of course, then you weren't really awake, but yes, this is possible. It's a dilemma. So when do you awake and act upon? See, right? And act accordingly. And when are you going to prepare yourself for that awakening when it comes properly? See? So I think hypothetically or theoretically, however you want to see it, we should from birth be able to be prepared for awakening instead of like your job. That way you make your money. You get your title or your degree. That's not enough. That's just more layers of gunk on you. Oh, now you're this. Yeah, you were that. Now you're more of this. And then you're going to be much more of this, because now you have a degree, which means you've got too much more of this now. And then they're going to pay you for being too much more burdened by this and blah, 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 blah. There's no awakening. You're just more stuff, more dump. Educationally, occupationally, egoically, dumped. Well, when are you going to wake up beyond all of that? So you are free of the dump. Free of all of the conditioning. And that's really what we're talking about here. When does a person, how does a person deal with that part of themselves that is spirit first? And that's radical. It's not religion. It's not a school. It's just your basic being. Basic reality. Your essence. Not an association, not a program, not a faith system. It's none of that. You're just here. Tree to grass. Earth to moon. Moon to sun. To solar system, to galaxy, to universe, to source. Just heart. What happens when you wake up as a heart? Who owns you? Who do you own?
So does one have to be open to receiving spiritual purification in order for it to happen?
If you're asleep, yes, you have to be open to it. I mean, it's going to happen. You're going to get it one way or another. You're going to hear it. It's going to be around you, at least in conversation. It's not like a mysterious reality. It's not a cult. People are always talking about their religion and their spirituality, which is good to talk about. But you want to see what it is you're talking about. You want to examine it and question it, in a sense. Well, what are you talking about? Is it just talk? Is it just blah, 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 blah? Or is there more to it? Something inside? Is it something outside? Is it something you're saying and associating with others just to talk about so you have friends? Is it really about friendship? Which is not what spirituality is about at all. We're talking about a creative revolution in your consciousness at the atomic level, where you can't be like other peeps, because you're more than other peeps in terms of their programs. You're part of the universe, you're part of the spirit, you're part of a fire realm, a fire, yes, fire, force. You're aligned then with the force. Let's say some say it's the force of spirit, or the force of God, or the force of whatever you want to call it. It's a force. It's a very, very unmistakable force. It's not an ego thing. Just like breathing is not an ego thing. See, going to the bathroom is not an ego thing. Going to sleep is not an ego thing. It's a force. See, it's a have to because it's deep, super deep. No, it's not a question. It's not a negotiation. It's similar to that. Genius is like that. There's no negotiation. It's beyond everything, every consideration. It has its way. Most of what we see out here is memory genius, and that is a negotiation to a certain degree. Some people are savants, and they don't have a choice about it. See, but a lot of what we see that we're calling genius out here is mechanical. It's trained, it's educated. It's, I thought of that. Yes. So, it's this kind of thing. But what I'm talking about is deeper than that. This is madness. This is madness. There's good madness. It's a madness to help other people. Please.
Can the process of spiritual purification be considered frightening or painful for some?
Yes, it can be. Especially if you're having a certain kind of adjustment where you've been an ordinary person, so to speak, average person, a good person, educated properly, complying with the rules and let's say the demands of your parents and your culture, being the good person, and then all of a sudden something starts awakening you, let's say from another one of your dimensions, your many dimensions. It could be dreams about something, it could be some impulses about something outside of this box. And then you become frightened by it. So I've never experienced this before. And what is this? And you wind up in India, let's say, or in Egypt, or in Africa, or in Alaska. And then you start seeing your connection with other peeps, with other cultures, or other civilizations. Even, as they say, extraterrestrial stuff, which is so popular today. Everything is extraterrestrial, right? We're in the extraterrestrial epoch for the moment. And the natives have always been there with the extraterrestrials. They call them their star people, the star brothers and sisters. That means a bigger family, the solar system of family, but it's really an intergalactic family, which is a part of our interdimensionality, which many people are just frightened of. They don't want to embrace it. So they don't want to embrace the God at the level of the God. They want to embrace the self at the level of the self and what's cozy, comfortable, and absolutely, utterly limiting and fearful. Self-frightening, right? The boogeyman, right? Right. Paranoid. Continue.
Is it possible for someone to resist spiritual purification, or are they bound to go through it whether they want to experience it or not?
Everyone is resisting some level or other of it. Yeah. Because of comfort, because of other. I'll say, baby, I don't want to let you go, man, because this is too good. Honey, this marriage is so good, especially in the bedroom. I don't want to let this go. I don't care about God. I don't care about anything. My God, this is so beautiful. This is it right here. This is all I want, all I need. Sorry, kids. Doesn't work that way. You got to wake up out of your self-indulgent fantasy of, let's say, sensual bliss and wake up to reality, which is you're here to die, and you're dying, and you're wasting your time in bed. Please continue.
Is capital punishment a sin? And if so, who is the one responsible for such a sin? Is it the lawmakers who put the law into place? Is it the judge who issued the sentence, or the executioner who carries out the order?
I think it's all of it. Well, it's not. I think it's an agreement. See? We can't just go by the physical. We have to see the logic of it. Things are not all happening by mishap and accident, exactly. Things are happening according to, let's say, karmic laws, which are incomprehensible. But they're there. And so some people who know these laws and know about these laws will say, you don't want to go there because it's too deep. It's going to confuse you. You're not going to believe it. You don't want to see the reality that you've already created, friend, sister, mother, child. You don't want to see it because it's going to destroy your game. You don't want to know you're unconscious because it's going to take you out into the universe, see, of darkness and light and everything in between. See? So yeah, there's a lot we have that are filters and, let's say, barriers that are put in for, let's say, for lack of a better word, our safety, to protect us. So people are saying, oh, please give me past lives. You don't necessarily want to see your past lives, old friend. You may not want to see your past lives. You're doing pretty well right now. You don't want to be thrown back into a past life that made you go through what you're going through now. Now, when it's revealed to you, fine, dandy. We hope you see the positive side of that. But do you want to see how many people you've killed to get here? You really don't. Or who you've abused, or who you've maimed, and so on. This is not anybody and everybody, but these are issues that affect the psychic, let's say, perceptions. right? So, and who you've loved as much. See? So on both sides. You want to see the enormity of your past experience all of a sudden at once? That's like Krishna and Arjuna. Seeing the universe revealed to you was too much for Arjuna. Arjuna's begging the master, Krishna, Lord Krishna, please, it's too much for me to see, it's unbearable. So it's better to mind your own business at that level, but to be open to the spirit, and say to yourself, yes, if I need to know so that it can help me, yes, let it be revealed. I'm okay with it. So I want to do good. I want to be good. I want to live good karma here for my family and for my people. I want to help others.
For those beings who have reached enlightenment, do social and familial obligations still exist for them?
Yes, they may vary, they may morph into something else, but everything remains the same. If there is such a thing as enlightenment, it's just your relationship to it changes, but it doesn't mean anything has to stop, particularly. If we're talking about a quantum leap in intelligence, then, I mean, that's I guess, more space, right, in the life, in a sense. You see differently. Right? You understand. So your understanding, let's say, becomes more quantumized, in a sense. So you understand. So in other words, there's less to be stressed about, less to seek, because you have understanding, profound understanding. That means to say you're in the matrix of the logic of everything that shows up. Yeah. You're in the center of it. You understand. You know. But it's not like you have to talk about it. It's not like an intellectual knowing, it's an intuitive knowing. Everything is all right. Even if everything's falling apart, you know, because of the nature of the universe and the fact that you're on Earth, everything is supposed to fall apart. Yeah. That's what this is about. Birth and death. We can't control it. We're here. We are victimized by it. We are subject to it. So we may as well just enjoy it, because there's nothing you can do once you're on the roller coaster. You know, you paid for the ride, you're up on this hill, you're going underground, and you know, you got to wait till it stops, and then you're off of it. And that's basically what we're here for, except in the sense that when we are learning about it, if we're learning about the ways of enlightenment, then we can have a better sense of peace in the midst of it. The peace is really the salvation. It's not anybody else. The peace is the salvation. Salvation is peace. Peace of mind, peace of heart, peace of body. Then you are saved, you are at peace. That's the heaven. See, that's the kingdom within. See, blessed are the peacemakers. No doubt about it. Who has the courage to be peaceful when the instincts and the urges are to be destructive and anything but peaceful? See, that means you have to counter. You have to go against your physical nature. You have to be spiritual in nature. How many people have the heart to be spiritual in nature, for true or for real, for good? Very few. It's good to be honest about it, but we can work towards that. We can open to that and say, yes, we may all beings be happy, may all beings be enlightened, may all beings be healed, and we want to be as much a part of the positive solution to that as possible.
Is reincarnation considered a punishment or a gift?
Both. We need the reincarnation, obviously, to make good on former debts. That's why I'm saying, yeah, obviously we're here to pay off debts and to help others pay off their debts and find peace, while they too are, let's say, on the wind of life, of time-space changes. And find peace, but you're not going to find peace out there. Peace is something that is rare, in a sense. Being left alone to have an illusion of peace is one thing, but to find the peace of the mind, the peace which surpasseth understanding, heart peace, is very hard to find. It's stable. It's hard to be stable in this kind of peace. So you want to work to pay your debts off, because you're here. We can say it's the curse part of it, right? That means if there are things you have to do that you're not going to be so happy with. But it's not a curse, it's really a blessing. The whole thing is a blessing, and you have to welcome it. See, as a spiritual warrior, you have to welcome it and say, yes, come what may, I'm here to do this, get through it, and still be at peace. There's more room for peace. And say, if death is the next step, so death, come what may, and I want peace. Because I know if after the death is over, there's going to be even more peace. Death is my doorway to peace, true, absolute, utter peace. And if you understand that now, then you have that. If your fear of death dissolves, see, if it melts away, then you have your peace. You don't have death to fear. Then what else is there to fear that's more important or more powerful?
Chapter 110 is titled Life Without Spiritual Practice is Subtle Suicide. In what way is it self-destructive for people not to practice?
Well, if we're talking about spiritual practice which expands your heart, your mind, and your body into a state of blissfulness and understanding, well then if you're suffering neuroses. I mean, you're killing yourself. If you're in depression, you're killing yourself. See, if you're in anger, you're killing yourself. See? If you're in confusion, you're killing yourself slowly. Certainly about that. We're certain about that now. Science is saying the same thing. In other words, if you're unhappy, you're suffering. You're miserable. You're killing yourself. Yeah. So we need to undo that. The way to undo it is through education and bringing people lessons at school about love. See? Not just friendship, but about heart love. Not just social friendship, but about heart love. That the heart, let's just train the children about the ways of the heart from the get-go, first grade. Have them draw hearts. Have them paint the hearts. And have them know that that's what our potential is, heart beings. It's not a religious thing, it's a physical thing. It's physics. We are the heart. And the heart hurts, and the heart yearns. The heart longs for peace and beauty, love, compassion. It's not about religion. It's common sense. It's about mothering, fathering, being good parents to one another.
From the same chapter you write, suicide does not begin with its final act of self-destruction. It often begins with unconscious and careless acts against one's ultimate responsibility for their own highest well-being and general sanity. Are you saying that a lack of spiritual practice can affect one's mental well-being?
There's no doubt about that. We're talking about your lack of self-healing. Your lack of self-healing is going to, of course. That's why you do self-healing, so you can balance out your tendency, your programs, or your, let's say, a dependency upon the dark side. Negativity and unhappiness, see? Yeah. And vengeance and selfishness, see? All of these things, see? Greed, too much of anything, not peaceful moderation and being kind to yourself in that way. All of us have to go through this. The masters, the guides, the gurus, the mahatmas, everyone has to go through the human nature. Not all of them are freed from it. Not all approach, let's say, the life as a monastic by choice. Not all of them go the path of the saints by nature. But do we have that potential in us? Yes, we do. We are all of that. We are masters, we are saints, we're gurus, we're guides, we're geniuses, we are all of it. We are suffering beings, we are brilliant beings, we're the whole universe. We have it all in us. So you want to tune into what it is you need to be the most. That's your choice. You have mind. Mind is everything and nothing.
So then is spiritual practice a key solution to healing mental illness?
Absolutely key to it. The idea of whether it's in the form of mental illness or not, you have to know when you're not feeling right. You have to know when you're not in peace. You have to know when you're not calm and clear. See? And balanced. You have to know that. And you have to see yourself as going to other peeps and doing these things dependent upon other peeps because of your own anxieties and frustrations, your own neuroses. It drives you to others so you can be with your kind. You have to see it. It's a trap. There's no freedom from that. You have to know that there's freedom beyond all that you show up as. A peace, like the image of the sitting Buddha. Peace. Nobody. Nothing. No one. Nothing. Zero. Pure spirit being.